I would like to invite the Chief Executive of Alternative Energy Development Board, AEDB, Mr. Amjad Awan, to come on stage for his presentation. Please welcome Mr. Amjad Awan.
First of all, I'm thankful to Jio for arranging this kind of event today. And I think it's very timely because everybody at this stage in time wanted to know what actually we are doing in the power division and what milestone we actually achieved and what is our progression and what we are going to achieve in future. So these questions, in order to address these questions, this kind of event, I think, is very timely and very opportune. In the morning today, when I entered in this room, my first impression was the wind clips. These clips are the wind turbines and solar. And this actually shows what we are actually selling it. The Jio guys, I think, are very, very smart in that sense. They know what to sell. So this is a significant message actually going that what actually we want to know, and we want to see renewables thriving in this country. We want to know about the renewable, the status of renewable in this country. But before starting my presentation, the question that might be coming in your mind, why we need renewables in this country? So let me clarify that up to this stage in Pakistan, we were in the crisis management mode. This was a crisis. We wanted to manage it at all costs. No matter from where the energy is coming, we wanted energy because it was actually costing your GDP growth. And I think as far as the number I know, it was more than 4% of the GDP growth that was costing due to load shedding. So we were in the crisis management mode. But right now, we are shifting from this crisis management mode to energy security mode. And I think we should be very cautious at this stage because previously we never thought that we should focus upon the sustainability, we should focus upon the renewables and its cost advantage, its ecological advantage. But right now, when we are at the stage when this crisis is being managed and we are done with this, I think we should think about the sustainability. And that's why everybody is saying, everybody is calling that renewables is important for this country and it has a very crucial role to play in future. Secondly, in management, we use the term that it's a natural competitive advantage for this country. Many countries in the world do not have any match with the resources that we have in this country, solar, wind, and biomass. But these countries are escalating their share in terms of renewables. So drifting towards renewable in Pakistan, we need not to restructure the options. Options are already there. You have to create a process and a conducive environment so that more share of renewable be justified in this country. And beyond this competitive natural advantage, there are some other crucial advantages that renewables have, and I think the risk matrix has altogether changed recently. In Pakistan, renewables are abundant. We know that solar energy in this country is not site-specific, from north to south. You always have abundant energy you had just to show solar photovoltaic cells and start generating electricity. So it's not a rocket science. And these resources are indepletable. They are unending gift of the nature provided to you. And when I say these are abundant resources, we try to explore more possibilities. And many of you must be knowing that we have a very strong wind corridor in the south, in the Garo side, in the Jampir side. But let me tell you, we have recently discovered new wind corridors in the Balochistan area, in the western route of CPEC. And these are better than the resources available in the south as well. So with these resources we have, the abundance that we have, there's a natural drift should be there that we should go for this. And then most importantly, all renewable resources are indigenous, import-free. So it will actually reduce our reliance on the imports. And I think based upon that, there's an economic advantage and balance of payments will be improved and fiscal deficit will be reduced. Because we know that some years before, it was $15 billion was the import bill of the petroleum products. So shifting towards renewable, towards indigenous resources, I think it better justifies. Then the most important thing, renewables are cost competitive right now. Gone are the days when high tariff was there and it was deemed that renewables are not sustainable in terms of cost. But let me tell you, the current trends are that these resources, even wind and solar, are better cost competitive than any fossil fuels in future. And then the low gestation period, we all know the deployment is quite easy and swift. And last but not the least, the global trends. And we should not be shy away that we have to see that what are the global trends currently in this sector, renewable energy, excluding hydro I'm talking about. In the year 2015, the investment in renewable energy actually peaked in that year. Around $285 billion were invested in the wind and solar energy. In the same year, the investment in the gas and coal in the world was just $130 billion. So that's the first trend in the world that now more investment is coming in this sector. And I'm talking excluding the hydro sector. In the next year, 2016, there was a considerable drop in terms of investment in the renewable energy, 23% drop. But on the other hand, in 2015, with high investment, only 118 gigawatt was installed. And in 2016, with less investment, 138 gigawatt was installed. This is another unique and very prominent trend. That means you are getting more with less investment. This shows you are expending less but getting more. And these are the trends, these are going to continue in future in the days to come. Now coming towards the presentation, people deem that in AEDB we are only concerned about the on-grid power, but we are working in 360 degrees. Renewables work is more complex and intricate than that. We have to create a conducive environment for I will give you a glimpse of these areas, and then we will discuss what actually AEDB has done so far in these areas. The renewable energy policy, we have a distinct policy in renewables that takes in mind the off-grid, on-grid, and the multifaceted areas. Security package documents and its bankability. That was a big question, but it's not a big question right now. These documents are recognized by the world. Much of the projects are coming in this sector. And a couple of years before, IFC, International Finance Commission, conducted an exercise, and they actually validated these documents at par and issued a guidelines, investment guidebook on their part. That was the first time in Pakistan some international agency actually issued guidelines to investors in certain sector. The resource assessment and mapping, I will come later on this issue, validated solar maps. Now, solar maps and wind maps we have since long, but these solar maps are drafted on the basis of the ground-based installation that we've done. So these are the more authenticated solar maps, and I will show you the glimpse of that to show you how much potential, untapped, unexploited, unharnessed potential available in this country that we need to harness. Then the land-related matters and coordination with the provincial government, that's a success story again. We manage all these things through the contracts with the provincial governments. And then on-grid installed capacity, how much we escalated, the future road mapping that we have done so far, and what quantum of renewable energy, the money actually invested in this sector. And then the standards, solar standards, other standards, what we actually done so far, and consumer financing facilitation. This is important because much of the people know or don't know that recently the financing rate from the State Bank Pakistan has reduced from earlier 11, 12% to 6%. So now renewable energy is in the excess of everybody who wants to invest. And I think this is the most discounted rate available in Pakistan. And then tariff rationalization. I take the pride, this is one of the biggest achievements in Pakistan, that we started from a higher tariff, and within the 3 years, we reduced quantum level, and now the tariff is at par, and is competitive with other fossil fuel resources, even better than that. And then the operational risk management. Now, people do ask that beyond cost, managing the intermittence of the wind and solar, these are the big risks, these are the barriers actually. But let me tell you that we manage this risk. Now, much of this risk is actually shifted to the sponsor and it become part of the energy purchase agreements. So we in AEDB are not only escalating the share of renewables, rather we have an eye on the risk metrics as well, and we are trying to mitigate and reduce the risk for the renewable energy in this country so that to smoothen the environment and making it more conducive for the investors and consumers. The hybrid projects, the true I think the potential of in Pakistan, the true advantage. Let me tell you, not in the world, every wind corridor is gifted with solar. But in Pakistan, every wind corridor is gifted with good solar irradiance and potential in Pakistan. So it's natural to go for the hybrid. Now, what will actually happen? The transmission lines will be optimally utilized because in wind sector, we know that capacity factor is 35%, 38%. And now when it combines with the solar, 18 to 19%, it's at par around 48 to 50%. And there is a day-night complement. These wind and solar sources complement each other. And that's why I believe that this is actually a future for Pakistan for a mass deployment of renewables in this country that we can plan for right now. And then the guided investor facilitation, as I mentioned that IFC also issued guidelines book to investors a couple of years before. And then Pakistan's improvement in international ranking is the most attractive country. Let me tell you that much of the energy in the renewable energy was installed during this tenure of the government, I believe 80–85%. That shows actually the emphasis of this government to go for this. So all applause for the policies and for the tempo that they have maintained. Regarding ranking, this is the renewable energy countries attractiveness index issued globally per year. Before 2015, we were not part of this. This actually includes best 40 countries in the world. In 2016, first time we were included in this, and we achieved a 39 number. In 2017, we jumped to 26 number, and when I was coming here, I watched the 2018 ranking, and Pakistan actually maintained its position up to 26 number. So this is a progress of since last 3 years that Pakistan resurfaced itself as the most attractive country in terms of investment in the renewable energy sector. Now coming towards details. This is the policy that we followed, issued in 2006. And it's a comprehensive policy. It talks about all the off-grid, on-grid, net metering, wheeling, banking, and everything. Currently, 15 wind projects have achieved COD, and 789 megawatt is installed capacity, and project capacity by 2018, 1240, and right now, more than 448 wind turbines are installed. And let me tell you, this includes also the CPEC projects. Alternate energy sector is the first to achieve CODs of their CPEC projects. Whatever the target was assigned to us in solar and wind, it's nearly achieved, and we were the first to achieve this target. In solar, we have 400 megawatt, and we anticipated capacity to achieve through competitive bidding around 1,000 megawatt by 2020. But this is, let me tell you, these targets are actually set by the government and given to us. Whatever the scope will be given to us, whatever the targets will be given to us, now AEDB is in a position to achieve these targets with all vigor. Right now, $0.637 billion investment is there, and in wind, it's more than $3 billion investment we have done so far. The third sector, the bagasse-based cogeneration plants, right now 200 megawatt is operational, and 1,200 megawatt, more than 1,000 megawatt in the pipeline, around $1.2 billion installed. The advantage of this sector is this: you are getting the energy without any losses. The discos are actually taking off this energy. And this is your indigenous energy that is being utilized. And I think we are going to achieve the utmost and out advantage of this sector in this country. As I mentioned, $3 billion in the wind sector and $0.637 billion in the solar sector. This is actually a theoretical potential, and these maps are basically the satellite-based map that we have done through the NREL USA. And the potential is in front of you. Is literally unlimited potential. And now, the ground-based data, whatever we acquired, it actually authenticates this data that actually these resources are available to us. This is the recent wind map issued by NREL, and you can see the orange spots in Balochistan area, the western route of corridor. The wind corridors are abundant in this area. At least 5 to 6 new wind corridors are available in this area. The good thing is this: there's a less population, and solar is equally available to you. So, as I mentioned, mass planning we need so far. And I think if we increase the share, for example, 20% to 30% renewable in this country, I think much of the burden of the imports will be reduced. So this is another added advantage of renewables. These are the wind masts, actually. In order to map the wind data, we actually installed throughout the country in all the 4 provinces. The data is coming. And maybe in the end of this year or the next year, the wind maps on the basis of the ground-based data will be accomplished. AEDB is also helping the other provincial governments to deploy more wind masts in their areas. And we understand that particularly in the Balochistan area, which is a renewable rich country, more mass needs to be installed, and AEDB is going to support this kind of exercise. Similarly, these are the solar data stations that we actually installed, and based upon that, the solar BAPs were developed. The red color shows the actually advantage in Balochistan that we have. The better solar sources available in this area, and throughout this the map, I think much of the map is either yellow, orange, or red. So this shows the potential. Biomass mapping. Last year, I think we done so far. The biomass atlas has been issued, so now we are in a position to see how many feedstocks are available in different parts of the country, so the power generation exercise be done accordingly. This is the transition, wind power tariff. We started from 14.6, and then currently, I think 6.7 is again a reference, and we can also go down from this. So that's actually achievement so far, that within the only span of 3 years, we transit from the higher tariff to lower tariff. Same trend is visible in solar, with the black line is actually showing, this is the recent tariff announced by the NEPRA is around 5 point something cents, and we started from the 17 and 18 cents. So transition that is witnessed in the wind is equally available in solar. Solar standards. So we are taking this issue, solar standards, and it's a good news, as I already mentioned, that Government of Pakistan already approved these standards, and these are actually adopted by the science and technology, and now in the next couple of months, these are going to be enforced. Beyond off-grid, on-grid power generation, net metering we recently started, and I think it was not that easy to start net metering in this country, because in order to harmonize environment for all the distribution companies to make them agree, so we have done so far. These net metering regulations, NEPRA issued in September 2015, and right now 6.87 megawatt is installed, and 44 vendors are qualified by the AEDB. These are going to facilitate the consumers to select the right person for the right job. Our parliament is one of the first which is working in accordance with the net metering, and 1 megawatt solar that was installed, and that's very exceptional in the world as well. Our targets by 2021, 1,000 megawatt at least to achieve the way we are progressing, and then by 2025, we speculate 4,500 megawatt advantage can be harnessed through net metering. Lighting Pakistan is a unique thing. This is an off-grid exercise. And now, in the past, what we did, we deployed solar potential in different households, rural areas. It could not be maintained, but this time we are going with a different strategy, and we are partnering IFC, International Finance Corporation. These are actually giving these solar charge energy products on lease basis. And now, with a very cheap lease, I mean, I personally witnessed the small difference of 2 LED lights and 2 fans actually making a big difference in the social life, social pockets in these areas. So this kind of thing can be escalated further and replicated in other parts of Pakistan, because this is a success story, the off-grid solution that we have proposed. Wind sector in Pakistan is the only sector, I believe, where a huge emphasis on the corporate social responsibility is there. Now, we have converged them to make a foundation for CSR activities, and different kinds of activities like schools, hospitals, water management, these kind of things are being done, and local people are actually getting jobs in the wind area. This is the ranking, as I mentioned. In 2016, we were at 39, and before 2016, we were nowhere. After 2017 next, we jumped from 39 to 25 number, and now we are maintaining it. So this is just a glimpse of what we have done so far next in this sector. And this is actually, we laid down a strong foundation, and not every strong foundation has a long shadow, but really it matters a lot that we have done so far. So we have put renewable energy in this country on an irreversible trend that now this is going to escalate. I mean, now people ask me that what's the future of renewable energy in this country? So let me tell you, simply it's irreversible. The way the potential that we have, the way the investors are sensitized, and the way things are going on. And finally, the way forward, I will particularly emphasize 4 key factors that we need to take in mind in future if we want to escalate renewable energy in this country. The first is this: the strategic targets for renewable energy should be set in accordance with the real risk matrix in this country, because risks in the past, they are obsolete right now. The cost, the intermittence, the system operation, these kind of things. So all the targets that we have to set for renewable energy for a wind, solar, and other subsectors, that it should be in accordance with the true and real risk matrix, so as to justify the higher share of renewable. Second important task is the system integration. We have to learn. The world is going, the world is changing. We have to learn how to integrate. Now, this is not a rocket science, how to integrate the intermittence of the wind, how to integrate the day-night variation of solar. This is possible. The world is changing, we should also. So we have to learn. Actually, we have to improve our learning curve in terms of system integration that we should do so. Thirdly, the restoring and rehabilitating the confidence of investors. This is most important because we have to stabilize our policies, and our policies should be such as that it should give a concrete impression to investors, and people should trust our policies. So restoring and maintaining the confidence is important. And the last thing, now onwards, our energy policy should be viewed in the macro perspective of managing energy security in this country. Now, for all next years, the energy policy should be a function of energy security in this country. Thank you very much.